Hey guys, welcome back. It's a new episode of the Afterburners podcast. I am your host, Sam Niedermeyer. With me, as always, my tiger friend, Bobby Koch. Bobby, you're looking good. You and Mike both. Mike Gervais, obviously. Jarvis, I keep mispronouncing your name. This is like on brand right here. Mike Jarvis, I'm sorry. It just looks like it's like Ricky Gervais. But you guys are dressed up nicely. I got Bobby here as a tiger. Mike, how you doing as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
Cowabunga, dudes. I'm doing well. How's things in New York?
They're great. I had to. That was it.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
You know, we all knew that was coming. We all knew you were going to do that, but you still did it, and it's still kind of funny, but for the wrong reasons at all. By the way, we're recording this right now, Halloween Eve. Tomorrow, Halloween, guys. Excited? Where does Halloween rank on the holidays for you?
I'm pretty excited about it. We had kind of a celebration there last weekend. My wife and my sister-in-law and I went to a haunted house, or it's called a fear farm. And I got to say, it was a great time. Sam, you'll get a kick out of this. We were in the one haunt, and this actor was sitting there, and he was all dressed up in his gory costume, and he had a severed head, like a fake severed head, and he goes to me, "Hey, do you like my girlfriend?" I said, "Oh, she's pretty hot. Where'd you find her? Tinder?" He looks at me and he goes, "No, Craigslist." So I got a good chuckle out of that. I thought our listeners would enjoy that.
Yeah, kudos to you, Mike. I am a big scaredy cat and can never do those things. A guy in my neighborhood used to put on like a haunted house, and people would pop out of nowhere. I think I kicked one of them in the shins and ran away. So I try to avoid those situations. In regards to Halloween, I don't really have plans this year. I was possibly going to go to this big Rick and Morty party where they transformed a bar into a Rick and Morty themed bar, I guess, but didn't end up doing that. I did have a quick story I wanted to tell, though, about some past Halloweens. There's two stories here. The first one is I used to patrol the yard for my mom. My mom is obsessed with Halloween and goes all out. So I wore a Grim Reaper outfit and would just kind of walk back and forth and scare little kids. Sometimes I'd stand really still, and then they'd push me over and I'd go down. I was really committed to the act, and I'd get back up. But one time, I think I was about 13, maybe 14, I did that to this little girl, and she screamed bloody murder and just started crying forever. And I just walked over to my mom, took my mask off, and said, "I'm done. Never again."
That's like my Tuesday, man.
That girl is still probably haunted from you, Bobby.
She's in therapy now. It's okay.
If you're listening, probably, she's probably, what, 23, 24 now? If you're listening, 24-year-old girl, I apologize on Bobby's behalf.
She probably, let's see, I was 14 and she is probably like 6. So she'd be like probably a high school senior now.
Nice.
Oh.
We're just going to ignore that.
In case anyone's listening and worried about me aggressively advancing on high school girls, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not.
The other story is probably more appropriate for Sam, which was in college. There's this girl I kind of liked. It was kind of a Ross Rachel friend thing where we never really got together, though. And long story short, eventually she went abroad. She came back, and I was at a Halloween party. I was dressed as Indiana Jones. I'd cut my hair, done a bunch of different stuff. And at this party, she didn't recognize me, and she started hitting on me. And at one point, she said, "We can go back to my room." And everyone's looking at me like, "Oh, shit." And
we don't know what that means.
But mid-sentence, she realized who she was talking to, wings her arms like this, and goes, "And be pals."
For those of you listening as opposed to watching us on YouTube, the female took her hand and hit Bobby on the shoulder, like what a pal does when your best pals do.
Yeah. So that's for a while, my college friends after that went, "Hey, Bobby, you wanna?" So that was a fun Halloween.
Well, jokes on her now, Bobby, because you are a podcast star and now a YouTube star. Guys, we got a great show for you here in the Afterburners, episode 8 of the 2017 season. We're going to talk a little Juju Smith-Schuster.
Smith-Schuster.
Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm a Steelers fan. I should know that.
You really should.
We're going to talk a little Juju. We're going to go over some of our scariest stat lines from Sunday, and we got some things that might be scared in terms of like how what's worse than the monster in your closet that you've been prepared in terms of players this year. Any players that have been letting you down. Before we get started, Mike, give us your contact information. Bobby, give us your contact information, and then let's get rolling.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Mike Jarvis, MikeGervais.
Yep. And you can find me at Wrecked Fantasy. That's REKED Fantasy.
And guys, I am at the Needy One, THENEDI 1 ONE. I guess that's pretty much how it works. We're at Afterburners Pod. We also want to make sure we have the contest. We ran a contest on social media. We have a winner. We're going to announce you at the end of the show as well. Before we get started, though, we got a couple not really breaking news, but stuff that just come out here in the last 30 minutes to an hour of recording. Number one, what was really scary, we're going to take a side note here. Zach Miller from the Bears, horrendous injury, basically had some artery problems on a catch that should have been a touchdown but wasn't, but that's neither here nor there. The important thing is that it looks like his leg is stabilized. He will have that. Unfortunately, we wish him well. Unfortunately, we're not really sure about his playing career, but we wish him well. Make sure he gets better. Number two, breaking news. Bobby, Mike, Jimmy G going to the 49ers for a second-round draft pick. What are we expecting here? It looks like they're going to release Brian Hoyer. The 49ers are going to release Brian Hoyer, too.
Well, I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a lot of Halloween nightmares tonight because he was dreaming about going to the 49ers. And now Jimmy Garoppolo's there. But one quick thing that I don't think many people realize, and I retweeted something about this, is Jimmy Garoppolo is a free agent at the end of the season. Considering that the 49ers are 0-8, I'm not really sure I understand the trade unless it's a sign-in trade where they're getting an extension with him right away. Otherwise, they just gave up a second-round pick for nothing, essentially.
Mike, why would the team go after this guy unless they absolutely were certain they were going to sign him long-term?
Yeah, I don't really have any idea. I gotta think that they think they're gonna sign him long term because, like Bobby said, he's a UFA at the end of the year. So I mean, you bring this guy in and he's got 8 games left, and he's got to learn an entire new offense. Yet you want to give him a boatload of money. That doesn't seem like a good idea for me from the 49ers aspect, considering it's probably going to take him 2 to 3 weeks to get comfortable with the play calling anyway. So I mean, then you're looking at you've got 5-6 weeks to base it on if you want to give him a boatload of money. I think the most logical scenario, like Bobby said, is maybe a sign and trade.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to me. It's almost like he's got 2 weeks of the preseason. Like the 5 weeks is like the second half of the season is like his tryouts, right? Like his tryouts for long term. But you kind of need to sign him before. What if you sign him and then he goes, let me phrase it. If you don't sign him and he goes bonkers, guy's going to go out there and test the free market. Now all of a sudden you had him locked in I'm expecting for a little bit cheaper than the market price. But if you sign him now and give him a boatload of contract and he shits the bed, you got to eat something. So this is an interesting dynamic. I'm kind of intrigued how it's going to go out. What are we talking about in terms of dynasty? Is this somebody that, one, has been on the radar of teams for dynasty owners, and two, should they make a play for him?
He should have been on the radar just because anytime you're backing up Tom Brady, don't get me wrong, most of his backups, like Hoyer, haven't gone on to great careers, but they've gone on to have some usable starts. And considering he was still on the Patriots, if Brady were to get hurt, he'd find himself in an excellent situation. Now, the 49ers, the other thing with this tryout is the 49ers O-line is also trash. So they're having him try out on a team that has trash for receivers, a trash O-line, and basically their best player is Carlos Hyde, who they've been trying to trade or get rid of or play Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by hiding him all the time. So I don't know. I kind of want people to take the wait and see approach. I know you can't really do that in Dynasty. If you're in Superflex or 2QB, you should be shooting some offers out there just in case he runs away with the job. But I personally am not pursuing him at this time.
Yeah, there's a lot of positions on the 49ers that you can consider trash. Mike, give us a parting statement here on Jimmy G.
Yeah, I think he's serviceable, but I think when all is said and done, he'd be, a bottom probably 5 or 10 quarterback. I don't know that I would necessarily pursue him. If the Jimmy G owner in my league wanted to make a play and deal him, try to get something, I'd offer maybe a late second round pick in Dynasty and a 2 QB or a super flex, but nothing more. If I get him for that, sure. If not, no, I'm not interested at all because that O line, he's just going to get sacked and be under pressure. And aside from Pierre Garçon, who got hurt yesterday, their receivers are just straight garbage this year. So, and it doesn't look like it's going to be any better anytime soon.
Jimmy G for a late second rounder right now. I'll tell you who else has been some trash. At least some trash yesterday. The Lions' offense. Although I should say, let's preface this. Their offense was actually very good, but their red zone offense was atrocious and trash. Mike, have you seen anything like this before? They racked up like 450 yards and didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's happened, 2 or 3 times before, something like that. Do you credit the Steelers' red zone pass defense or just red zone defense? Or do you place the blame on Jim Bob Cooter's awful play calling? I watched a fair amount of Lions games, and JBC isn't a very good play caller by any means. Now, the Lions were missing Golladay. Tate's not 100% yesterday either. Marvin Jones almost hauled in that pass in the end zone at the end of the game there to give him the win. But aside from that, they didn't look very good. Now, my boy Matt Prater helped me out in my kicker league. But other than that, it was a scary, scary night in Motown.
Bobby, what's your takeaway from the Sunday Night Football game?
So to be honest, I didn't watch Sunday Night Football last
Why not?
night.
My Steelers were on.
Because I don't care about the Steelers. And also, I had Marvin Jones as my only fantasy relevant player, and it was in a super flex league a best ball league that I was already winning. So I felt okay about not watching. I decided to watch Stranger Things instead. However, that said, I did read about it. I've also watched some of the recaps, and it's interesting because I remember, I think it was last season, we were all like, oh, Jim Bob Cooter, he has such a hilarious name, and he's making the Lions offense so much better. And now, Jim Bob Cooter, your name's not as funny when you're not winning. I'm sorry. Or actually, maybe it's funnier because I can't say it without giggling right now.
Me either.
But I like Matthew Stafford. I think he's an underrated quarterback. People seem to not realize that he just airs it out all the time. Kenny Golladay coming back could be big for them. I think that they probably need to get another wide receiver there besides just Golden Tate, Marvin Jones. I don't know if Golladay is necessarily the answer. TJ Jones is someone who had a decent game yesterday, and I actually plan to write him up for my Chasing the Articles, not Chasing the Articles. Clearly, I've had this tiger costume on too long. It's scrambling my brain. But, yeah, that's how I feel about the Lions. I like Matthew Stafford. I just wish he had a bit more of a playmaker a la Calvin Johnson.
Marvin Jones showed up pretty big last night. Let's real quick, Marvin Jones ranking, top 50, wide receiver, top 30. Where you guys have him?
I'd say 50-ish. I wouldn't put him top 30, but I'd probably put him 40 to 50. I'd feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, I'll be a little more aggressive than Mike. I'll say he's a top 40 as long as the Lions don't have other passing options.
26 catches, 408 yards, 3 touchdowns on the year. But a guy who destroyed it last night, my man Juju, who is taking the fantasy world by force. He finished with nearly 200 yards receiving yesterday. Had that, including that long 97-yarder. The best part about him, the interview after the game when somebody asked him, like, hey, on the 97-yard touchdown, you were looking back a lot. Like, what happened? And he said, yeah, I know I was ranked an 82 or an 83 on Madden for speed, so I had to make sure that the guys weren't going to catch me. Mike, Juju, man, like, am I wrong to be in love with him?
I'm not even a Steelers fan, and I'm falling in love with him. When he was locking the bike up on the sideline as well, the kid looks like he's the real deal. So far, I'd say he's probably the best rookie wide receiver out of this class that we've seen. Obviously, Corey Davis and Mike Williams.
Hey, Cooper Kupp's grandma might disagree with you. We cannot say anything negative.
Cooper Kupp's grandma can find me on Twitter and debate that with me if she wants.
Wow, I'm going to tell her.
Side note, Cooper Kupp's what grandmother is actually following Bobby on Twitter.
She's not following me. She just retweeted me. However, I am going to mention her and say this guy has a problem with your grandson.
Whoa. I don't have a problem with him. I just think that Juju's better. Well, I don't have a problem with Cooper, but if she wants to take it up with me on Twitter,
you heard it here first. Mike does not want to fight a grandma because he's a big chicken.
No, he's a big.
He's a big turtle.
He's a big turtle. Might be too slow.
I am, but anyways, yeah. No, Juju looks like he's the real deal. He looks like he's a great complementary piece with AB there. Looks like your boy Montavious is probably on the way out. There's no, just seems like a bad situation for him in Pittsburgh right now. And Juju's taking over that number 2 role, and doesn't look like he's going to give it back anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think he's giving it back. He's a great. The Steelers love him because he's a great blocker. Number 1. Number 2, you right there?
Yep, just swallowed the wrong way.
Number 2, I don't think he's at an 82. I don't think he's at an 82 speed or an 83 speed. I think he's a lot faster than let's on. Bobby, let's kind of look at this in terms of like dynasty, rest of season. What's the limit? Like, is this guy's like just have an impeccable ceiling? What is the ceiling for him?
I like Juju. I wrote him a few weeks ago in Chasing the Targets, mentioning he was getting some red zone looks, and he was already pretty much out-snapping Martavis just because the Steelers don't really like Martavis for obvious reasons.
Guys, you can read that article on dynastyleaguefootball.com. Bobby writes some great stuff over there.
Anyway, the thing is, so earlier today I saw some polls, and I'm just putting these out there because Twitter polls always seem to just make me mad. And it was Juju versus Jarvis Landry. Who would you rather have? Jarvis Landry lost to Juju.
I saw that poll as well.
Yeah, so I retweeted like all of them because I was just like, this is ridiculous.
I did notice you retweeted quite a bit of polls today.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins versus Juju. I think it was like tied. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. The only one, this is interesting, the only one that destroyed Juju in the poll was Corey Davis, who hasn't even really played a snap yet, except for like a few targets in week 1, I think it was. So looking at guys who have proven production like Jarvis Landry, and instead saying, no, he's not better than Juju, who's destroying the league right now. But this guy who has barely played in the NFL, who I have no proof is ever going to be good in the NFL, and don't get me wrong, Davis, I think he's going to be good. But you're still saying, oh, yeah, he's better than the guy who's already producing. This is what makes me mad about Twitter, guys. Stop looking points in the mouth. If you see someone who's producing and they're giving you points, take the points. Stop chasing potential points.
I've been telling people that for years. I remember, I don't know if you remember this, Bobby, but a couple of years ago in our Dynasty Baseball League, people were harping on me for having the elite team of fantasy baseball. Sure. And for those new listeners of ours who maybe don't know, a league mate of ours, Elite, has a very old team in fantasy baseball.
We're actually required by contract to mention him once per podcast and how old his team is.
Yes. But at any rate, my fantasy baseball team was made up of predominantly guys in their 30s. And I believe it was you, Bobby, who said, man, like, your team's pretty old. I don't know that you're going to really do much with this team.
Probably
and I said, yeah, give me proven production. Guys that have proven track records that can hit 30, 35 dingers and, steal you 20 bags or win you 15 to 17 games over these hot young rookies who are coming in. Because I want the guys who have the proven production. Most guys, no, not most guys, but a lot of guys, whether it be in football or baseball, they bust. I'll deal picks all day, every day for proven talent.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a combo of those two. I also think that it probably was me because I was very youth obsessed for a while, including in Dynasty football. It's changed over the years, and I think my change in Dynasty football has actually also carried over to baseball. The kind of different animal in the two leagues, but
sure.
I definitely could see where I was the guy who was like, oh, your team's too old. And also what Mike's trying to say, and dancing around. He's won back-to-back seasons in our fantasy baseball league.
Yeah, you got that humble brag on.
And he's all like, "Oh, I'm hot shit, so let me just drop some knowledge here."
No, but I'm not actually hot shit, because if you remember, I was probably the only person to ever go 0 for the season in fantasy baseball in year one in the startup. So yeah, I said.
So what he's saying is he went from worst to back-to-back championships. Oh man, look at Mike taking a trash team and making it great.
All right, let's go full circle back to Juju. Mike, where you got Juju in terms of wide receiver ranking right now?
I'd probably rank Juju ahead of Jones, who we just talked about. I'd feel comfortable putting Juju top 30.
Dynasty ranking, right?
Yep.
Bobby?
Top 30 seems about right. I'd have to take a look just to make sure, but probably somewhere in the 30 to 35 range.
So, Juju had a scary stat line against the Lions. It was scary to the Lions. But some of these other guys we're going to mention had some really scary stat lines, Mike. Start us off with one that was just brutally, awfully horrendous and horrifying.
Well, for that, we're going to go to South Beach. And unlike Big Will Smith, I don't want to go to Miami anymore and see any more of Jay Ajayi. I traded for him this week in a league because I was desperate, and he rewarded me with a 13-carry, 23-yard performance.
Nice. That's pretty scary. That
is. What's even more scary is 21 of those yards were on his very first carry of the game.
So he went 12 carries, 2 yards.
Yep. I'm watching this Thursday night football debacle between the Ravens and the Dolphins. I see the first carry breaks off that long 21-yard run. I'm like, oh, yeah, Ajayi, this is going to be the week he breaks out. The Ravens defense is kind of shitty against the run. Ajayi's going to have 100, 120 yards, probably a touch for me. And he got 2 more rushing yards the rest of the game. Thanks, Jay Ajayi. Thanks.
Bobby, what was your scary stat line?
Well, now mine's not quite as scary, but I mentioned this guy earlier. Ever since CJ Beathard took over, and now I'm really hopeful because Jimmy Garoppolo is taking over. Carlos Hyde has been shitting the bed for me. Early in the season, he was great. Ever since Beathard took over, that entire offense just came to a halt. If you're a 49ers fan, I'm sorry, your team's trash. Hopefully Garoppolo's made it better. I know we work with a 49ers fan, or we used to work at my old job. I hope Sam shares this with him. I'm sure I'll get an angry text. But Carlos Hyde, similar to Jay Ajayi, had 12 carries for 25 yards. But even worse than that is he had 9 targets, and he turned those 9 targets into a grand total of 22 yards.
Woo!
So all in all, he did better than Ajayi, I guess, but he also could have done so much more with those 9 targets, and he did nothing.
I should say, oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, Ajayi did have 4 receptions for 18 yards Thursday night as well.
And all right, so yeah, there we go. And the other thing that makes me mad about this is I was facing Zach in a league that I started Hyde. I'm down. I don't really know what's going on with the Monday night game because we're recording right now.
I'm crying. That's all you need to know.
Zach's team went off. I'm down 62 going into this game. I still have Travis Kelce and Kareem Hunt. But if Carlos Hyde had just done anything with those 9 targets, I would have maybe had a shot, assuming that Kareem Hunt went God mode like he did in week 1 and got me like 43 points. But Zach's going to beat me, and he's going to gloat about it because he's undefeated.
Kareem Hunt has done not much this game. He has thrown an interception, though. I can tell you that.
That's -2 for you, Bobby. That's kind of scary.
Great.
I got a really scary one for you guys. You ready for this? You might have to hold on for dear life because this is truly scary. Terrell Pryor dressed up as a wide receiver for Halloween yesterday against the Cowboys. He pretended to be a wide receiver. Unfortunately, he didn't fulfill his goals of being a wide receiver for his costume. 0 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards. Now, I understand that it was kind of wet yesterday. I get that. But Terrell Pryor.
Just to confirm, he was actually active for the game, right?
He was 100% active, yes. 0 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards. Terrell Pryor, terrible costume to be a wide receiver.
I have a bet with a friend of ours before the season started, I wrote this article saying I didn't think Pryor would be a value in this offense. And he said, no, man, Pryor's going to get 1,200 yards.
That's what everyone was saying.
Was this Mark?
If he loses, I get to – no, it wasn't Mark. It was Alfredo. If he loses, I get to rename his team for the next entire year. And he's a huge Carson Wentz fan. So far what I've gotten is Carson Wentz's bed. If anybody has anything better, you can tweet me at Wrecked Fantasy suggestions for Alfredo's team name for the next year, because I'm clearly winning that bet.
Yeah, 100% you're winning.
All right, something else we're going to try to figure out here with the Halloween theme is this idea of something that's coming that's scaring you like a monster in the closet. Like, what player to date has kind of scared you or horrified you or spooked you more than the monster in your closet, or in Bobby's case, the little monster dog running around right now?
Also, just to clarify, we made a rule that this had to be a player that you liked coming into the season, just because it's very easy. For example, I could have said, oh, Terrell Pryor's scaring me, but I also thought he would scare me. I'm talking like you thought this player was going to be good, and you've been starting them in your leagues or making bets on them, and now you're having heart attacks because they're not producing.
Let me go first. I got one. We just mentioned him a few minutes ago. Martavius Bryant, 18 catches, 234 yards, just one touchdown, 31.6 fantasy points. I've been destroyed by him in every single one of my leagues except for a dynasty league, so I guess that's okay because there's no collateral left in him. I've gotten to the point where I'm about to drop him because no one wants him. Martavius Bryant definitely spooking me more than the monster in my closet.
Nice. I think I can one-up you. I'm going to go to my boys in New Orleans. I was really high on this game, or on this fellow at the start of the year. I wanted all of the Willie Snead shares. I thought with Brandon Cooks gone, Willie Snead is going to be the number 2 guy in that prolific passing offense. Well, let me tell you something here. Willie Snead has 1 reception on 3 targets for a whopping 11 yards this year. He played 4 snaps yesterday. 4. Now, Sean Payton says he's going to be more involved in the offense. What? Is he going to get 5 snaps against the Bucs? Only time will tell.
Well, the reason I didn't choose Willie Snead is because he's actually in my closet. He's the monster in my closet, man. I got the Willie Snead monster. It's running around. I'm afraid to open it.
Well, with that dyed hair, I mean, that's pretty scary, but...
Brandon Coleman stole his job. Also, we talked about this earlier. Willie Snead was going to be my top choice. So clearly he's the monster under all of our beds coming out at night when we're bad little children.
The Willie Snead monster returns. Bobby, which player to date spooks you the most?
So I got to go with Sammy Watkins. I was a big Sammy believer. I thought all he needed to do was stay healthy. And then, of course, the Bills traded him, and I went, all right, he's going to the Rams. Jared Goff has been bad. Maybe he'll be good this year. Surprise, he's been good this year. Yeah. And Sammy's been healthy. So why am I talking about Sammy right now? Well,
grandma's.
Sammy, exactly. Cooper Kupp burst onto the scene and went, this is my job. I'm the number 1 wide receiver. You're going to go be a monster, and you're going to hide under Bobby's bed and in his closet at night and scare the shit out of him. In fact, you're only going to top 50 yards twice in the season, and all of his touchdowns came in week 3.
Yeah, I traded for him after week 3.
Oof, that's rough. That's definitely. I actually, in one will say, I've gotten rid of the monster in my closet. I stayed up all night with a flashlight, proved to myself Sammy Watkins is not that scary, managed to get some sleep, and then traded him and Laquan Treadwell for Corey Davis, a 1st-round pick and a 2nd-round pick in one of my leagues. So, but I still own him in a league with our good friend Christian, and we're stuck with him. So he's still every once, like he used to come out every single night. Now it's like every other night he might peek out and go, boo. And I'm just like, all right, I get it. You're still there.
That boo was perfect with zooming in right on Mike at that time. Guys, we had a little contest going on today. It was fun to see some people enter. Now, what we did is we want to include everyone in terms of these afterburns and these burns of the week that we do. So we put a contest on Twitter. Anybody that could give us their best Halloween-related burn of the week is going to win 1 free month subscription to Dynasty League Football, where our good friend Bobby is dropping knowledge bomb articles on the reg. We got some pretty good entries. We got 3 that we want to point out, and we're going to give you the winner right now. Bobby, start us off with number 3 finalist.
So number 3 is Alfredo, who I've mentioned, called me personally a piece of candy corn. If you don't know, candy corn is the worst candy in the entire planet.
Absolute worst.
I don't think there's this what's it called?
How can corn be candy?
What's that thing called? Man, I can't believe I'm blinking on this. Oh, there's a bracket. There's a bracket of the best Halloween candy out there. Somehow, candy corn is number 1 on this bracket that's circulating on Twitter.
Yeah, the people that created candy corn basically like sponsored content. So, oh, let's just put our candy corn at first.
Anyway, that's a pretty good burn. We're looking more for, I should have clarified, this is my bad, but we're looking more for like bad Halloween experiences you've had. Like, here's a good example. Earlier, I put on this costume, and I don't know if it's because my dog couldn't see or not, but he jumped right on my junk. That is a good Halloween burn to myself.
Can you blame him?
Yeah, I probably deserved it.
So that's finalist number 3?
Yep, that's number 3.
Give us finalist number 2.
So this is Addison Hayes, and he said that he would like to just skip over Halloween and go right to Thanksgiving.
Pretty good burn right there, Addison. We have to give it to you.
Hey, Addison Hayes. Thanksgiving's in October, bro.
Oh, dropping Canada knowledge over here.
Yep.
Is that right? Like the Thanksgiving is in Canada, or Thanksgiving's October in Canada?
Yeah, it's the second weekend in October.
Yeah, you guys are all kinds of backwards.
Yeah. Really
and then we got one more person, one more tweet that we have to say. This is going to be our grand winner, Bobby. Who is it and what is it? That's a terrible drum roll.
This is from Poop Poetry.
Perfect name.
His handle is @pooppoetry, so exactly how it sounds. And he says, a hookup dressed as Don Johnson for 80s theme party in a thin rayon suit earned me the college nickname Stiffy. So congratulations, Poop Poetry. We'll be in touch about getting you your free month Dynasty League football. Look out for future contests. They may be more trivia themed in the future. They may be more burns. Maybe we'll do one for Thanksgiving, like burn a Thanksgiving dish. Just spitballing here. But congratulations again, Poop Poetry.
Really good stuff, Poop Poetry. Like Bobby said, we'll be in touch with you guys. We're running out of time, but we have to mention our burns of the week. Mike, what's your burn of the week?
I'm going to defer to Bobby on this one for a minute. I got to decide which one I'm going to go to first. I thought I had it, but I'm wavering, so I need a minute to think.
Oh, I don't know if I have one.
I got one. Can I go?
Yeah, go for it.
Mine is going out to the state of New Jersey's Attorney General. They put out this freaking warning label to parents. Now, watch out for marijuana-laced candy when kids are trick-or-treating. Number 1, if you own weed, away for free. Number 2, how in the hell can you lace marijuana on candy? And number 3, why do you do that? Why? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No wonder you got destroyed on Twitter. Stick to what you know, which is prosecuting the mafia. Stay away from marijuana-laced candy. New Jersey Attorney General, you've been afterburned.
All right, I've got my burn of the week. I was debating between a football-related one and a Halloween-related one, but since it's Halloween tomorrow and we've gone Halloween all day, I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to afterburn the homeowners who deem it necessary to hand out soda as Halloween candy. Thanks, it's a great idea, but all it does is weigh your sack down. So as a 5-year-old kid, you're looking around a 12-pack of Coke and 6 more cream sodas. No, that sucks. Then you got to give it to your mom and dad, and they don't want to lug it around either. They just want to throw some Jack in that Coke and get through the night. So my afterburn of the week, parents, if you're listening, do not give out soda as Halloween candy.
I never got soda as Halloween candy, but I can definitely understand the frustration if I
That might be a Canadian thing. That never happened to me. But I also realized my burn of the week, thanks to you.
Okay.
So this didn't happen to me personally, but my fiance, Grace, was walking our dog, Milo, and there are people there. We live near a bar, and there were people day drinking, which is fine, although they're kind of obnoxious.
It's the bro-ish bar in New York. It is nothing but bros. It's so not an attractive bar.
Yeah. Anyway, she's walking with our dog, and this guy starts following her and supposedly turns, spits in her face, and says, "Halloween came early," and then walks down the street doing that to a bunch of other people.
Wow.
So, first of all, if you're that guy, fuck you. Second of all, if you're day drinking and spitting in people's faces, fuck you. And third of all, I think I'm just at the point, if you're day drinking, I probably don't like you. I'm sorry.
What?
It's
What?
true. Sam, you need to leave now.
Day drinking is literally one of the greatest things in the darting. How could you not like to darty?
I'm with Sam. I would rather day drink than night drink.
Yes.
All right, day drinking might be taking it too far, but if you're going to get so drunk that you're spitting in strangers' faces, I don't like you.
That we can agree with.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, those are terrible human beings, guys. Good afterburns of the week. I think, though, I mean, obviously, Bobby, that guy obviously wins the burn of the week. That's not even close. Like, between what me and Mike said, that's just gross.
Yeah, hopefully he listens so he can hear this being cursed out.
I mean,
guys,
that Halloween came early. I bet he usually comes early as well.
Here I was thinking something more innocent, like, oh, we should go egg wherever he lives, but Mike just went there.
Yeah,
100% he comes early, Mike. Guys, we're out of time. This has been fun. Great afterburns. Great stuff here after the Week 8 in the NFL season. That's it. You can follow us at Afterburners Pod. Mike, give us your party. Give us your contact info. Bobby, take us home.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Mike Jarvis. We're through Week 8. My Saints are 5-2. I called it in the summer that they're going to the playoffs, and I'm sticking with it. Peace.
And my Giants found a way to lose even on the bye week, probably. I don't know what happened, but they probably lost something. They're like playing a game of pool and they lost. I don't know. But they still lost. Anyway, catch you next week. Keep it classy, Fantasy Twitter. Until next time.
Deuces.